All right. Good evening once again. Welcome to Digitech Zeal. So just before we start, I would like to give us this information. I noticed that some of us, we are not meeting up with Fridays. So it's as if I always wasting that Friday. So we have few classes remaining on this last package within our subscription. So let's say within the next 2 to 3 Saturdays, we should be able to conclude it. So for now, to enable us, be in the class, I'm taking off Friday. So this particular Friday, I've scheduled a different engagement already because for the past 3 Fridays, I discovered you guys have not been showing up. Okay, so we have been on how to analyze data with SQL, which is structured query language, how to use it to perform analysis on a given data set. And so far, so good. We have started looking at some data manipulation language in SQL, how we can deploy them to perform analysis on our data set. If you can see on the screen, these are some of the activities of the last class. What we actually learned, or let's say our focus in that class was data filtering, how to write SQL query statements to filter values within a given data set, which forms the first analysis category using SQL as one of the tools for data analysis. So if you look at what we have on the screen, the last analysis question we answered was to display certain headers value only from a given data set. So I think we are still talking about filtering category of query statement, which I am still going to focus on in this section because we have more of them, and most time they are very useful when it comes to querying data for analysis purpose. So the first thing I'm going to do, since part of the things we did last time, or part of the query statements we implemented last time will be repeated, so let me just proceed. So specifically today we are focusing on how to use, so you can start making your notes, how to use DML language, how to use DML language to analyze data, or let's say to perform filtering analysis, how to use the DML language to perform filtering analysis. So that is our focus in this section, to perform filtering analysis. So just in case you miss the introductory aspect of this, you can find out, just go to our official YouTube page at Digitech Zeal. I think the last video explained the fundamental of this that we are building on. And just to recap, I told us that SQL is not used for data visualization, particularly on this platform that we are using. I'm talking about the workbench. But by the time I expose us to the version in PHP MySQL, which is usually the back end of every website, then that one has a visualization tool. I'm talking about plotting graph. So like I promised, I will end the class exposing us to that one, because a company you are working for as a data analyst might, or they can tell you to go to their website to perform your analysis. All right, so the category of analysis we want to perform in this session can be referred to as filtering analysis. Filtering analysis, another word we can use in the field of analytics, is selection. So this is the kind of analysis that involve you separating or displaying certain values within your data set based on the specified criteria. Emphasis: the selection or displaying of a particular set of record that meets the specified criteria. That is the kind of analysis that we are focusing on. Then if we are able to conclude them in this section, in our next section, which is going to be on Saturday now, not Friday, we are going to focus on aggregates analysis. So we also have an aspect of SQL that can help us to perform aggregate analysis. As you and I know, aggregate analysis is an essential part of data analytics, particularly when you are dealing with business data or financial data. You cannot escape this filtering analysis and aggregate analysis. So if you look at the topic, I say what? DML means data manipulation language. Remember, we talk about various languages or type of SQL languages. We talk about DML, which is the aspect or the language in SQL that focuses on manipulating data. And that is actually the aspect that concerns you and I as data analysts. Because what we know how to do best is what? To manipulate data for actionable insights. In other words, insights that can help a business or an organization or individuals to make informed decisions. I hope you guys are still hearing me. Can I get a response? Just to verify if my audio
Yes,
is
sir.
still perfect. Okay, so you are welcome, Mrs. Ahmed. All right, so now remember I said the DML means data manipulation language. So how do we define this set of, let me try and put it for the sake of those that be making notes. So when we say DML, it stands for data manipulation language, data manipulation language in SQL. All right, so how do we define them? To define this, we can say these are statements, these are SQL statements, or these are statements for that are used for manipulating data. Now, if you can still remember, I told us that you cannot claim that you understand SQL language without knowing how to work with the commands grouped under those types that we have explained before now. We have DML. I think we have DDL, and then we have other one like that. So if you go to that first video or second video, that is where I took my time to explain all these various types. But our focus today, how do we use these commands? How do we use this manipulation command in SQL to perform reasonable analysis on a given data, where at the end of the day, we can generate an executive report that can guide an organization in terms of making informed decisions. That is our focus, because a database administrator, not a data analyst that also uses SQL, the way it's going to see this will be different from us. So our business here is that we are using this command to manipulate our data set, and we are manipulating the data set for few things. We want to identify patterns, we want to identify threads, and also find out the correlation between one variable and the other variable, which will inform our decision making. So we must get our priority right in terms of speaking the same language that others also speak. All right, so based on that, we are going to be looking at different questions. We are going to be constructing analysis questions from the data set I'm going to work with tonight. And then we are going to see how we will use these query languages or query statement to analyze the data. So the first thing I'm going to do is to use the database where I have the data table. All right, so before that, just to refresh our memory, I would like to know, okay, let's use the database. So I want to use employees. Employees is a database. This is where we have the list of our database under what? The schemas or the schemas. Remember, we have the administration and then we have the schema. This is where you can view the list of your database. So now you can see that out of the list of the database we have here, this one is bolded. That is what shows that you are currently in what? This particular database. But I want to use data DB. So how do I select it? Using SQL query statement. That is what? How to use database. So for example, I want to use DB, how to use database. I want to use DB, data DB. We are the one that created it in our last class. So how do I use it? I will just simply say use and then call the name of that database the way it is, which is what? Data DB. And then remember, you must always end your query statement with semicolon. Don't forget, if you do not put this semicolon, you will not have issue if you are not going to write any other code. If any other code is not going to come after this, there will be problem. But if you know that you are still going to write more code under this, you must ensure that what you end your code with semicolon. So now I want to run this particular line only without executing this line. So this is the command, the execution command I'm going to use. So once I click on it, you will see that my output say that what? This is already in use. And another way I can find out, you can see that the bold appearance has shifted to what? DB, which means we are now in DB. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I want to find out how many tables, how many data sets are in that what? DB. So watch the last video, you will see how we uploaded data into database in case you missed that section. So how do I know how many data sets or tables in this particular DB? Right? So I will just quickly say, okay, to view lists, you're trying to do revision, to view list of tables. Table. In this case, anytime I use table, it means the data set that you are given, that you are working on in the database, So I want to write SQL query statement to view the list of table. So since I am already inside the database, I will just say show, this is a keyword, show tables, because it's not one table, you are looking for. You have to add S. Remember the instruction I gave? You have to learn how to be ending your query statement with semicolon. Now, conventionally, because you might be writing this query statement on another platform that is not Workbench, that is giving us this command for executing our code. So what will I now be using to execute my code? If I find myself using another platform, writing or speaking SQL that does not provide me this graphical environment where I have these graphical tools, the standard way of running your code across all the platform is you press Control button and press Enter. Control button and Enter. So you can see that this has outputted the list of tables. So this automatically informs me that, oh, under this database, I have 3 tables. Now, the next thing I would like to find out, okay, because I'm looking for the data I'm going to work with. I'm not trying to show us the process, because when you are given a website to analyze data from as a data analyst, this is what we are going to do. You should be able to know which of the table where the data you want to analyze is. So right now, I'm still trying to know where exactly, Mrs. Sandra, please, I would advise if you want to show your video, make sure that this table is distracting us. Okay, or you just turn it off. Okay, so now I want to, thank you very much. So now I want to, out of this listed table, I want to see the particular one that have the data I want to analyze. So let me just start by checking what I have inside book. So I will just write SQL statement. All these are indirectly explaining what we have done for those that missed that section, but you still have to go and watch the video. So SQL statement to view all records in, I want to start with book. Book is a table. Book is a table. So my statement is going to be, I'm going to use one of the DML language command, data manipulation language command, which is what? Select. Now, in SQL, anytime the command select is used, it means you are saying that I want to retrieve record. I want to call record from somewhere. And where are we calling the record from? From the table name called what? Book. So I'll start by saying select. So select is SQL keyword. Now, you need to tell SQL, is it all the record in the table you want to see? Or it's just some column? So, and I want to see all the record. And to speak that, you use asterisk. This asterisk in SQL denote what? All. Somebody following. Let me get a response at least for one person. Mrs. Antonia, can you hear me? And I hope you are following.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So now, for me to put that asterisk, I'm simply saying that I want to see all record from. So I have to use another keyword, from. The word keyword means what? The name that have been used to store function already in the program. So I don't think where they are coming from. They are already programmed. It's just for us to know when to use them based on the statements. From. So the moment you put the from keyword, then you have to call the name of the table, which is what? The book. Now you can see the reason why we ran the first code to see the list of table, because if we have not run that code, we wouldn't have been able to supply what? The name of the table. In fact, I wouldn't have been able to know exactly the name of the table. So now I want to run this Control Enter. So you can see that it calls out this particular table, but unfortunately, I discovered that we only have, I remember when we were trying to call in the data that very day, this very one defaulted bringing the record. So which means my records are not here. So if this is company database I'm analyzing data for, I will alert them that I noticed that this particular table does not have records, so they can send you the right one. So Remember that I will now come back here and execute this code so that we'll have an idea of the next table to check whether I have record there. So I will just click here and that will list them out. Okay, so now let's go for new. So the only thing I'm going to do is just to substitute new here. I don't have to start writing the entire code. So if I press enter, this one too, there's no record. So the next one we have there, let me be sure, let me click here and execute this line only. That is salary 2. So I go back and then I substitute salary 2. Salary 2. So if I run it, you see that good. So this is where our data are. So now we are good to go into today's section. But before I proceed, I would like to ask if there's any question on what I've explained so far, because what I'm trying to do since they are actually what we have covered, but I know that the set of people that are here, these are people that were not in those sessions. That is why I have to go back like this. So if you have any question, quickly ask. If you don't have question, then we dive into today's assignment. Question, please, if you have. Okay, so let me assume. Okay, Mrs. Ahmed, sorry, I didn't get you. Did you say no question?
Yeah, I said no question, sir.
Okay, okay, all right. So now let's dive in. Let's move in. Now, we are focusing on SQL, how to use. Okay, let me see how to use. Let me make it very simple. How to use SQL. Sorry, SQL DML language to perform pattern analysis. So we are going to start from general selection. That is the one we have done now. Then we move to single filtering, that is with single criteria, and then we advance to what? Data filtering with multiple criteria. So I want us to accelerate in that manner. So the question will tell us whether we are to use one criteria or we are to use whether we are using multiple criteria or we are using single criteria. So let's study this data. Remember that has been our custom as data analysts, that whenever we are given data, it is our responsibility to understand the data, because our failure to understand this data will definitely lead to not constructing effective question. And once you do not construct effective question, that will lead to not presenting actionable words, insights. So at the end of the day, you will just be presenting information that the company cannot use to make decision, which does not speak well. So we need to understand our data. So if you look at this data set, you will see that this is an employee data set, right? That has several attributes, starting from employee's name, employee's ID, state, says, department, status, grade, hire date, salary, wardrobe allowance, and then if we go on, we will see basic salary, and then wardrobe allowance, medical allowance, transportation allowance, gross benefit, annual salary, tax, annual 80% loan, monthly repay 6.6%, gross tax, and then probably I know we have net salary. We have net salary. Good. So you can see that we have meaningful insight that we can actually draw from this data set that can help the owner of this data to make informed decisions. All right. So like the advice that I've been giving us, that as a data analyst professional, you need to know you must not belong to one side. It's very important. If you are going to prosper in this field, you must learn how to understand the way the CEOs, the manager operates. You must understand their thinking patterns. And then you understand your own part also. So which means at the point where you are drafting question, you are not supposed to be on the side of data analyst. You are to be on the side of the what? The business owner. That is only when you will now be able to speak their mind. That is only when your analysis will make sense to them, because it's just like as you are now. If I am thinking in a particular direction, and the moment you start speaking, and I see that we are saying the same thing, there is going to be that excitement that thank God that we're on the same page. So this is one of the secrets of this field. You must learn how to think like the CEOs. You must learn how to think like the managers, because these are the policies maker. These are the admin members. These are the people that are wired to think outside the box. All right. So you know that we are working with them. All right, because they are going to make decision based on our counsel. All right. I hope that information is well passed. So based on that, I want to draft an analysis question that will lead to using no criteria. So what could be the analysis question here? The analysis question, for those that are just joining, each time I put that double hyphen, that is comment in SQL, and you must put space. If you write it like this without space, it's not comment. All right, to throw error. So after the two hyphen, you must space. All right, that is SQL comment. I remember what we said about comment. Comment are non-executable commands, right? They are just narration. They are used for explaining code, simple as that. So I'll be using comment to explain my question, and where it's necessary for me to use comment to explain the outcome of my analysis, I will do so as well, right? So the first task that I'm given, the first insight that I want to draw from this salary payroll data is, in the first place, I want to know what is the total number. I want to see all the record in this word data table. So the question is what? To see or to view or to display. Okay, let me just shorten it to display display all record. Display all records. So this happened to be the one I've executed, but I'm just retaking it officially, which means select asterisk, which means, because that is what the task says, that what you want to view all record, right? So I will just say select from the name of the table, which is what? Salary. Sorry, I'm supposed to use small letter. Salary 2, that's the name of the table. So I want to see all record from this. So control and enter. Good. So I've answered. So this one is using, so what are the DML language or keywords or command that we have used here? Select and from. So these two command, they are under DML, data manipulation language, which I use basically for manipulating data. All right. So the next one I want to talk about is display selected column. That is the next task. So from this record that I'm showing right now, from this record that I have already displayed right now, let's assume that we are asked to pick only employees ID, or let's say we want to display department and business salary. So I want to see, in other words, extract from this data set only value under department and value under basic salary. So there is a decision or there is something you want to do. So that is a task. So I will use comment to explain that question, which is what? Display only records from selected selected columns. So here there are some columns that we want to see only their record. So your query statement is going to be select. Now you can see that here you are not interested in all. So for that reason, you are going to silence the asterisk because you are not going for all. All right. So the way I'm going to do it, once I have entered the select, I will now mention those columns that I want to see their record only, which is what the way they are in the data set, capital letter, debts. I want to see department, put a comma. I also want to see basic salary, the way it is in the data set. You can see that they are together. So now I just want to see, if it's just one I want to see, I will just, let's say I want to select only this. Then I will now put from. You must define the table where this column exists after calling the list of the column you want to see their values. So from which table? That same salary, salary what? 2. Salary 2. Then you must always end control and enter. You see that right now I only pull out record under department. So this is for 1. So if it's beyond 1, you put a comma, then you call the next one. So let's say basic salary, basic salary. Then if you are calling multiple column, please take note of this. The last one does not need comma. The last one does not need comma. So let me re-execute this. I press Control to column value was display. So this is how you can select specific column value. Please let me get a response. I hope all is still well with us. I've not been able to hear from Mrs. Tonia. If you are here, or any other person, are we following? Please, I want to be sure that.
Yes,
Okay,
we are
good.
we are
Okay, all right, okay. All right, so the next command I want to write is that here we want to start bringing criteria. You can see these ones here now. Yes, we use criteria, but if you look at this, we wanted to see only record from department and record from basic salary. What about if the company says that, yes, I want to see record from these 2 columns, but under department, I want to see only what? The list of employees. I want to see only marketing. That is what you are still going to output these 2 columns, but I don't want to see security. I don't want to see credit. I just want to see only record from marketing department. So you can see that is a different selection. So here we are bringing one criteria. So let me just title it so that it will be easier for us to understand. So let me just title it. Here, what we want to do is single criteria. I'm just trying to reduce the volume of my writing. Single criteria filtering. That is the next stage we are going into now. Single criteria filtering. And what is the question? What is the analysis question? The analysis question is what? Employees in, I'm always trying to shorten it also, employees, employees let's say employees in what? Marketing, good, marketing departments. They are the ones I want to filter out. So my query statement is going to be select, all right, select. Now, we are not bringing all, but we are going to interrupt that all command because we are going to bring asterisk here. Because I'm going to use a conditional clause or command in SQL to interrupt the idea of what? All. Just see how it goes. Now, select all from. So if I want to format my code, please take note of this. If I don't want to write all my code in one line, I can break them down. SQL will still what? Implement it for you. I can say select from, the name of the table is what? Salary 2. I can say, okay, this one should be in one line. Then where I want to use the keyword, the conditional keyword, goes to the next line. So this is where you now focus on. So here we are focusing on where clause. Where clause is just like if in other programming language, if statement. So in SQL, we use what? Where, when, all these are conditional what? Clauses or conditional keywords. So now we can say, look at the statement, select all record from salary. Now, if we stop here, it's going to call everything. But we want to say, no, we are bringing a condition. And that condition, we will now say where. So once you put in this where, it means you are about to introduce a condition. So remember the question. The question says display employee only in marketing department. So where, now in this case, where departments, because that is where marketing, that is where your criteria value is. The way department is entered in the data, where department is equals to. Now, remember we talked about data type, string, integer. Once it is text, then you have to put it in what? The quotation. So now where this is marketing, the way marketing is also entered in capital letter, marketing. So this is where, now this is when you will now bring your semicolon, because as at the time you were here, you have not finished writing. So even if you are breaking the code, you don't put semicolon at the end of, the whole of this is assumed to be in one line. That is the reason why I ended my word semicolon here. So if I run this code now this is another thing, where your code spread across one line. Just a professional advice I'm giving you. You have to have everything like this to be on the safer side. And then you press Control and enter. So you can see what comes out. This is not what I'm looking for, but I just want to go this way first so that we'll come back and streamline it to what we are looking for. Now, what happened here now is that if you want to know whether your criteria was fully implemented, just go to department. You see that everything you have here, they are what? Marketing. So there is no other employee from other what? Department. But remember, our intention is that we want to return department and what? Basic salary, only those two columns. So how do I implement it? If I want to do that, just to relate this, so temporarily I can copy this. Let me just Control C. So Control C, and then I come under here, Control V. So I just want to edit this to exactly what we are looking for. So since we are returning only here, so here we are returning, only department and basic salary. That is what we are returning. So how do we change this statement? Now, to change this statement, if not because of that, I will have just test our knowledge. So I will remove this asterisk, and then I will now mention those headers. Since there are two, comma, the next one is basic salary. Remember I said after the last one, you don't need to put comma. So if I execute this section only, just watch what is going to happen. You can see that what? It returned only marketing under department, and also what? The corresponding basic salary. Please let me get a response if we are following. Please, can I get a response if we are following? Everything is still all right with us? Are we following? Is I want to hear from one of you. Are we following? Is that clear? That explanation, is it clear?
Yeah, it is clear. It is clear.
All right. All right. So now let's look at filtering using single criteria, but this time around we are focusing on threshold value. So let me say what? Filtering with one criteria. So in brackets, I just want to use threshold value. See what it means now. Threshold value. So what does this mean? Now, let me call, okay, let's say this now. So if I say select,
Please, I have a question, sir. What does threshold values mean?
and that is what I want to explain. Don't worry, you get it now. Now, if I have something like this, and I say from salary 2, because I don't want to go up. I have a place where I've written it before. Salary 2. So if I run it now, what we want to display now is this. Pay attention. Now, it means you are performing your filtering with what? A number. That is that threshold. Now, like this one that we did the other time, where we selected marketing. Marketing is a string, is a text, it's not a number. But the kind of question I want to answer now is that we want to display only record from marketing department where basic salary is greater than 200. So you can see it now, greater than 200. So our criteria this time around now is a value. That is what we mean what threshold value is, a number. It's not a text. All right. So now, just why I have to run this code is for me to call back my data so that I will understand the question I am answering. So now, what is the question? The question is select or display. Let me use the word display, it's more basic. Display only records. Only records where basic salary is greater than 200,000. So this is the question, where basic salary is greater than. So how are we going to write it? We are going to say select, bring in only those two columns. We have to mention them. But if I want to put other column alongside, then I'll just put all. So in this case, I'm still mentioning them. Let's say department, comma, basic salary, right? Then I'll go to the next line. I'll say from the salary to.
There's a spelling error in the salary, sir.
You said? Okay, yeah. Thank you. I've seen it. Salary 2. All right. So now I will now go down and say, use the same keyword where basic salary. So the same way, where basic salary is greater than. So we are going to use this operator, greater than operator. We are going to use this. Then because we are filtering by threshold with threshold value with a number, we are not going to quote it. So we should know this from basic programming. So we'll just go ahead and say 200,000. So you don't need to put comma. Don't put comma, please. So 1, 2, 3. Just write it like this. Then you can now end your code like this. So if I execute this section of my code, it's going to return only basic salary greater than what? 200,000. So let's implement and see. So greater than 200,000. Can somebody unmute and tell us why we do not return any value? Let me know if you are following. We are correct, but there's a reason why we do not have any value return. Can somebody look at it and tell us, please, if you want to try, do it on time so that we can move on.
I think you're supposed to highlight from that column 96.
Okay, no, let's look at this. I'm going to show you this code. The entire data. Then I want you to pay attention to what you have here as I scroll down. If you are going to find any value greater than 200,000. I hope you are observing. Have you seen any value there that is greater than 200,000? Hello? No. The highest value there is what? Greater than what? Sorry, is 200,000. So
200,000.
which means that our command is correct, but the criteria is not met. So we'll now look at greater than 150. So let's say greater than 150, greater than 150,000. 1, 2, 3. This should be able to return our value. So let me highlight and then run. So you see, so what we have here right now, you can see that it returned only value greater than 200,000. So let's say I want to use this command. I want to say value less than. You can use this operator. Value less than. This is less than. Value less than 150. So that is going to return only value less than 150. So let me also highlight and run the code. So you see that what it returned what? 120,000, 100,000, which happen to be values less than 200,000. I hope you are following. You can see SQL is very simple. It's one of the simplest tools for data analysis. The only challenge we have is that it does not plot graph. But when it comes to this kind of analysis, SQL is very, very fast. You can see the speed at which it's outputting results. So smart. So now we are going into, so we have tried, I can say, okay, I want to see value equals to 200. So you can also use this operator. I'm only trying to use different operators. So I can say equals to what? 200,000. So if I run this code, I should have only value equals to 200,000. So you are not going to find any value not. All right. So now let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. I just want to make sure that I expose out to a lot of them. So we have tried less than, we have tried equals to. Now let's see, try that concept. So here, what I want to show us now is that, let's say we want to call out a particular person's record. So I'll first of all call this line for us to see what we want to achieve. Now we have a maker here. Let's say from this, maybe in an office, or maybe you are working, you are a database administrator. You are working and there's this customer that there's this argument of whether the person has paid or not. And the company says, okay, please, can you just display only that person's name? Let's just find out the person's detail. How do you call only a maker from the whole of this data set? We want to return only a maker. So how do we write an SQL query statement to handle that? Mrs. Antonia, it's like you wanted to say something before, but you just mistakenly unmuted yourself. So what is the question? Search by employee name or search for. Let me use, let's say what? Search for a maker. Maker is the maker spread out. I just copy my memory. Am I correct like this? Okay, it's even here, sir. Good, I'm correct. Good. Search for a maker what? Records in the table. All right, so my SQL query statement is going to be select. So here I'm going to say what? Select all, because I want to see all. This time around, I want to return other column. I don't want to limit it to only department and basic salary. So I'm bringing in the all keyword here. Select all from. So I can decide to put them, but I always like, formatting my code properly by taking each line for each of those keywords. So from the same salary, salary 2, from the same salary 2, what do I want to get? I want to call out what? Employee's name called Emeka. So I'm going to use the where clause. So I need to acknowledge where is Emeka name enter. Emeka name enter. So what I'm going to do here, Emeka name, because I'm having an error here. I hope this error will not be an issue. So I want to change it to this one. I want to call Emeka. Okay, since Emeka name, okay, I think let me see if it's work fine. If it doesn't work, I'll just convert to something else. So Emeka name is enter under a column called what? Employee's name. Now, this is where you need to take note of certain stuff, which I explained in the last class as well. If I type the header name there, where if I say what? Employee, the way it is, employee space name, the way it is. You see what happened? This text is having different color from this color. So what happened is that you ought to have cleaned the data. Remember, it's part of what we taught. I taught us how to modify, how to rename your column. It should be in the first, it should be in the second class. All right. So in this case, I advise us then that what you do is that you put it in this inverted comma. Just put it inverted like this, just for SQL to work with it. Because of this space in between, that was the reason why it was showing that error. So just put it in that what? How do you get that sign? Under your escape button. Check your keyboard, under your escape, you see it, just press it. Just add the opening one and the closing. Now, before you specify what you want to do. So what I want to do that, where this reference this as a string, because Emeka is a string. So I'll call Emeka just like the way it is in the data, Emeka like this, and then remember you also end it with this, then end with your semicolon. So let's see if with that, if this I'm sensing is an error, but let me just see if it will not affect it. Okay, so we have an error here, which means it couldn't access it. So now let me change it to, that is from the loading of the data. So something, maybe that particular header has formatting issue for the set that we brought it from. So we ought to have cleaned it before bringing it. So I just want to call back the data and then we switch to another header just to explain the concept. So let's say here now, I want to shift to what? Employees ID. Employees ID. So let me just call employees ID from here. I want to return only Emeka employee ID, that is 00-834. So what I'm going to do here is to substitute it in the place of the first thing. I will recapture the header where I have the employees ID. Okay, so employ space ID. Then the ID we want to use to call this particular record is 00, yes, 00-834, right? So let me run the code and see if we get the answer. So perfect. So I've been able to call out only Emeka what record. I couldn't get it with the employee's name because of this error, but I was able to what? I'm able to get it through the ID. Any question? I hope that is also clear before we proceed.
Sir, I have a question. What if there was more than one Emeka? How would you have gone about it?
If there is what? More than.
I said if there is more than one Emeka on the data set, how
Okay.
would
No,
one
no, no,
have
no.
gone about it?
It will return all the Emekas. In as much you know, if you want to, each of the Emeka, okay, let's take it this way. Let's assume this is my business. Emeka can come to my shop 100 times to buy different products the same day. So when he comes in the morning, they enter his record. It's still under employee's name. It's repeated Emeka. He also has a unique ID that does not change. Anywhere the record is found, the unique ID, his name will remain constant. But what is buying, like the product and other things, might be different. All right. So if it happened that way, the best criteria you will use is the name. Because when you use the name, or even if you use the ID, it will also return as much for all the Emeka transaction. It was the same ID that was typed. So it's going to return all the Emeka. It's either you use the ID or you use the name. I don't know if I've explained that to you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'm only hearing from Mrs. Ahmed. The rest, I don't know if you are following. Probably you are busy doing something that's out there. Okay, so we are still on it. Okay. So now we know how to do that. You see all these things that we are doing, even though you don't want to use them for data analytics. I told us that this particular program you are learning can offer you 2 job descriptions where they say we need a database manager or administrator. You can apply. What the person is going to be doing is not far from this. But the person is not a trained data analyst. But what we'll be doing is when the company come now, I say, okay, as our database manager, please, we want to see record from yesterday's transaction. We want to see record from so what date. What the database manager will do is just to write SQL query statement and then fetch. We will not say equals to a particular date, and then all the record will show up. They will say, okay, we are looking for a Nika record from that database. We want to be sure what maybe the money is owing or whatever. You write your query statement, sharp, you give the report. That is your major work. Like Junior and people that are working with them or the database manager. So every day they give reports of the number of people that purchase record or purchase product from, they can say, okay, from each state because they have a central server. So what we are learning is not limited to only data analytics. So take this SQL very, very serious. Like I told us from the beginning, if you travel out of the country, this is one of the most used to because most of their informations are stored in the cloud and websites. And this is the language we use to handle data in a database. So we need to understand all this. So now the next one is, now we want to use 2 criteria. So we are migrating to 2 criteria. All the ones I've done, no criteria, single criteria. Now let's say we want to start looking at multiple criteria. How do we answer questions that have to do with multiple criteria? Multiple criteria. What is the first question we are asking? So using that same data, so what you would do is that you can use different data to practice so that it will sync properly, right? So that your reasoning pattern will be different, and that will make it to be more registered. For multiple criteria, the first one I want to do here is, for me to get my question right, I need to call back the entire data and be looking at it. So this is one thing you should always do. So I can just come here and say select all from name of the table, salary, name of this table, salary, 2. right? So that I can draft my question. Always do this whenever you want to draft your question. So multiple criteria here is display records from credits departments where basic salary is greater than, where basic salary is greater than 150,000. So what are we trying to achieve here? Two criteria are involved here. The first criteria is that you capture credits. Now, even within the credit, there are some persons that are in credit department that are earning below 100, below 150. They are not going to be captured, though they are in credits. But you only want to see staffs, employees that are in credit department where their salary is greater than what? 150. Any person in credit department whose salary is less than 150 is not going to be captured. Two criteria there. So how do we capture it? So I'm going to say select all from the header where the first criteria is mentioned, which is what? Department, sorry, the data set, salary from salary to, then where the first criteria header, which is department, where department is what? Where department is credit. So I'll reflect department the way it is in the data, and is equals to use a string to envelope it. Credit the way it is in the data set, and then also end it. Now, because you are bringing another criteria, you will now say what? And. So that's the keyword we are bringing now. And, like I said, for better formatting, when you are introducing keyword, you take it to the next line, or you write everything on the same line. So I will now say what? And. Once you bring out this and, it means you are introducing multiple criteria. So what I will continue, what I will continue to do, even if it is C2 criteria, I will just be putting and. That is just the logic for multiple word criteria analysis. So and the criteria header of the second criteria header, basic salary greater than what? 150. So basic salary header comes in here. Basic salary. Then greater than, we just did, you put the greater than sign, and then you just simply type what? The value. Then finally, you can end your code. So you highlight the whole of this, and then you do what? You implement, right? So you see that what? It return. No, what we have here, we don't have anybody in credit department that is earning above what? 150. So now, just for us to find out if we are correct, let's change it to less than 150 and see if it will return a value, just to help us know whether our code is correct or the criteria was not met. Okay, so what is it saying? Check your error. That you have an error of SQL syntax. Check the manual content. What is the error here? Let's check. Select all from this, where it's equals to credit, and then and basic salary. I hope I'm correct. Basic salary is greater than 150. Check the manual. Let me see. Let me check something. We need to see. Select from salary 2, where department is, and basic salary. Are correct now. Okay, let me see the bug. Okay, so please, you can see what happened now. Please let it be on the same line because it's a kind of sub. The reason why it's not working now because it's a kind of sub condition. It's not the main condition, like where that was able to handle its own line, because this one is like it's under the where must cover it because they are all conditions. So that is why. So if you check it now, you will see that we have returned only credit. Where can I check if the two criteria were actually met? You check your departments, you shouldn't see any department outside credit. Then you now go and check your basic salary and see if there's any value there that is within the range you specify, which is very correct. All the values we have here, none of them is greater than what? 150. So we are correct. We are correct. So I can use equals to 150, use equals to 100. So I believe that is clear. Can I get a response as well? If we are following. Are we together? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many of us are with our program? How many of us are with our program as we are attending the class? So I'll give you some minutes to practice.
I'm actually watching on my phone.
You are working on your phone.
Attending the class on my phone. I'm actually not
Okay,
working.
okay,
I'm just
yeah,
listening.
okay,
My laptop
okay.
is done.
Okay, let me also hear from another person. Mrs. Tony, are you also working or joining from your laptop or your phone? Because they are actually much, I don't want to exceed where you will not be able to master before the next class. So I'm considering after this one, I'll stop so that you can go and initialize all these ones for the next class, because there's no point of rushing all of them and they are too much. Some of us will just watch the video, do 2 and 3, and then you leave. So let me just take this one and then we now close the section. So now here we want to use another statement. All these are command under what? DML, data manipulation language. So what to bring, we have used select, we have used from, we have used where, we have used and then I want to use what? All. I want to use all so that you know the kind of analysis question that will require what? All. All these are keywords within the SQL. So here, let's say we want to display, our question is what? Display credits or to that department we have the credits or what? Okay, let me go with the one I can remember easily. Credits or what? Marketing record. So the all here is that if the first criteria is not met, it will what? Check the second criteria. That is what we are trying to say. So the way we are going to write our statement is going to be, we are going to say select all from, select all, we go to the next line, select all from the same table, salary 2, select all from salary 2, where, so that is the first condition, where, remember we say what? All of them are under departments. All we are saying is either you return credit or you return what? This. So we say what? Department is equals to, the first one I mentioned is credit. So the way it is, credit. So this is where you are now bringing your or. This is where you are bringing your or. So you are saying or. So it's a keyword. That is what I want us to know. Or you will now call the department again. But this time around, you are equating it to something else, which is, for my question, it's marketing. Right? So now you can now end your code rather. So now let's execute and see whether we will get exactly what we plan to get. Right? So you can see what it returned. Now you can see that it returned only. So this is another logical way. It returned marketing. Let me see. Let me try and scroll down so you know. So which means if you are given a data set and they say they want to see two criteria. In this case, we want to see employees in marketing department and what employees in credit department. So we use all. We use all. Right? I hope that is clear, which means that, but at the being, there is no marketing to execute the other one. But in this case, why both of them came up? Because both of them are met. We have record in marketing. We have record in other departments. So if, for example, now, let's say I'm thinking that we have a header that is just market. I want to show us something. So if I run this code now, you can see that it executed the first one, credit. But when it got to market, it discovered that what? There's nothing like what? Market. But that did not stop it. It still went ahead to execute what? The one that the criteria is met. So, but if the two criteria are met, there's another logical way of displaying what? Two of them. So that is a very valid analysis question. Somebody can say, okay, display two departments. So you can use or, knowing very well that those two departments exist. I hope that is well explained because I'm going to stop here. We are supposed to be working at some point. I'm supposed to allow you to share your screen. Then I'll see what you are doing. But since most of us are not joining with our system, I will not want to just teach. If I teach throughout for the 2 hours, it's going to be too much for us. So I have to stop here. If you have any question, you ask. If you don't have question, then we can just hang it up here.
No question.
All right. Right. Okay, so this now brings us to the end. Thank you. Like I said, for now, for the few classes remaining in SQL, we are going to be having them probably only on Saturdays. So which means that you must make sure that you don't miss that class. So outside this one now, we still have like 2-3 classes left before we come to the end of the training. And when we finally come to the end of the training, remember your subscription go for Advanced Excel and SQL. So for those that want to probably continue with Power BI and Python, then they can contact us to subscribe into classes that are going on that. And then for us to issue you our certificates, you are going to do a presentation. So all these presentations you have been dodging, you will surely read them. You do a presentation on Excel, you do a presentation on SQL. So once you have done that, then we will bill your certificate to you wherever you are, or we'll send you the soft copy, whichever way you want it. So please, I've said this for us to go and sit up with those videos, knowing that you are going to have that assessment. So thank you. And just in case you come across this video, you also want us to teach you live like this, you can reach out to me directly with +234 706966 5919. So currently we have classes that are going on. We have graphic design session. For those of you that are following me on my status, you see we are advertising it already. So I myself and one other graphics professional will be taking care of that class, just 2 times off. And then we have cyber security that hosts every Mondays between the hour of Monday and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then we have another, we have web development class that takes place every Thursday between the hour of 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. So there are a whole lot of ongoing sessions at the moment that you can take advantage of. If you have anyone, we have Python programming for application development that is taking place every Sunday between the hour of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then we have children coding session. Children that comprises of kids and teenagers that will be starting immediately after their holiday within, I think it's around 25th of July. I think they are vacating somewhere around 22. So the Saturday of it, they are going to start that training. That training will be coming before your class. So for those of us that have kids that we need to start introducing to programming, because there's always huge advantage for them because it expands their creativity. It makes them to learn how to solve complex problems, such in mathematics and other core subjects. So there are a whole lot of advantages that are attached to introducing kids and teenagers into programming in their own category at this level. So if you have anyone around you, just contact me and then we put them in the group. So thank you very much. I'll see you next week, Saturday. Bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.